friend of all ages. Well, I'm back. Should be a relatively short. Uh, should be a relatively short stream. I'm only doing the seals and boxes for 10 cases of whiskey. Plus, I'm super duper exhausted. I'm running out of steam like a motherfucker. No cap. Oh, I take that back. Cap. Um, sorry, I'm not hip like that. But I figured I'd turn on the stream while I did the final bits over here just to make sure I stay focused and on task. So it's this section. Well, let me go picture in picture. So it's this section up here at the top. I'm gonna adjust the camera so it's a little bit more on everything, and then we'll let's see here. Move the camera here. There we go. There. I'm not gonna worry with the second half that's down here, down in this corner. I'm not gonna worry with the second half. I've got other plans for it in the short term. But I'm gonna get myself a cup of water, plug in my extension cord, and I'm gonna get crack-a-lackin'. Switch over to the live camera feed. Yeah, there we go. So this is the feed. This is the angle that I call the live concert feed, because that is the camera setup that I have for the bands when the band is playing. It's obviously in a different position. It's not pointing at my bottles while the band is playing. That'd be silly. But we also haven't had a band here in a while because haven't been able to get people to come out to watch the bands. So, when we were doing our live music on the YouTube channel, the live music on the YouTube channel was a pretty cool deal, I thought. We'd get some viewers and stuff, but having paying performers to come and play at the distillery for 30 or 40 people online was never the goal. The goal was always to have people coming to the distillery, and then we stream the videos. That was the goal. Let me get the chat queued up on my telephone here. Oh, Vanessa Kitty's in the house. Cheers, Vanessa. So I do have a topic to talk about tonight. I said earlier that I was going to do my show tonight. I didn't really have a topic. We're going to talk about the whiskeys or whatever. Tomorrow night I have my show. Tonight's Tuesday. I forgot what day it was. So here's how my schedule's been since Saturday, I guess. Since Thursday. So Thursday, no, Thursday doesn't count. Friday, I do my tasting. I have a tasting Friday. 2 tastings Friday, as a matter of fact. 2 tastings Friday. Lisa covers the distillery while I go do my tastings. Then, so I get done around 9. I worked all day doing tastings Friday. Get done around 9. Then Saturday, 2 tastings Saturday. Then Sunday, I have a session meeting. So, and then after the session meeting, I take a nap. And then after the nap, I do the taxes for my family, for me and my family. Both sets of taxes, and I get done around 3 in the morning on Sunday night, whatever. I had to do the tax setup twice because I made a mistake the first time and it wouldn't let me fix the mistake, so I had to wipe everything clean and do it a second time. So I would have been finished around 1:30 or so. The second time doing it was much quicker, much quicker. Because I was just going through and answering questions that I already answered. But nonetheless, 3 o'clock is fucking 3 o'clock. It gets early. Then Monday, wake up around 6:30. Kids go out the door, and I enjoy my golden hour, my quiet hour, between about 7:30 or so and 8:30. I have breakfast. Come up to the. Do I come up to the distillery Monday morning? No, I have my first tasting is at 11. So I'm doing work on the computer, answering emails, doing videos, stuff like that, getting stuff ready to go. 11 o'clock or 10 o'clock, I hit the road, go do my tasting, cross town. I come up to the distillery, grab some supplies, and head across town for the tasting. Do the tasting. It's a light crowd. It's not very super duper busy. I mean, it's 11 o'clock on a Monday. What do we expect, right? So I go do the tasting. Monday, 11 a.m. Get done around 2. Have lunch. Make some phone calls. Do the things I need to do. Next tasting is at 5. Go do my tasting at 5. Get done at 8. Come up here, do some work at the distillery. I streamed. Y'all saw me. Y'all watched. Streamed from the distillery. Got done around midnight, 1 o'clock. And then that moves us to today, 2 o'clock. I got done at 2 o'clock. That moves us to today, which I thought was Wednesday all day long. I've been off by a day all. It has been driving me absolutely bonkers. Today, I get up, come in here, do the work, go do the tasting at 5. I might have, by the way, a new Miss Old Humble. I might have a Miss Old Humble who will help me introduce our next label of whiskey. That may be introduced. Our new bourbon label, the new label bourbon. The same bourbon, new label. Really excited about that. All American girl, all American bourbon. It's a great tagline. I love me. I love me some patriotic schmaltz. Woo! Anyway. But yeah, I've been off by like a day, and everything's compressed and stretched out, and it's just this exhaustion. You know, I have a normal schedule, and I kind of blow that schedule up when I start the road show, and leading up to the whiskey festival. Heading out to the whiskey festival on Friday. I'm driving up to Austin, and Friday night I'm coming home. I'm on my way. I'm on my way. Home, sweet home. Yeah, yeah. Sorry. I'm loopy. What the fuck is going on with this rubber band? There we go. But I go to Austin to showcase our 72-hour blackout bourbon, and then turn around and come back home Friday. And then turn around, come home Friday, and then Saturday morning, saddle back up with my lovely wife and roll back out to Austin for the actual festival. So I'm commuting out to Austin Friday, then I'm turning around and coming back home, and then going back out to Austin Saturday morning. Wicked wild shit. But I also need to finish these boards. This is probably what I'm going to do Friday morning. Well, Thursday morning. I pretty much have an open schedule Thursday morning. I have more tastings today, Wednesday. But my Thursday morning schedule is pretty open. So, where's my lazy Susan? Lazy fucking Susan, where are you at? There it is. So Wednesday morning, I'm booked up. I have a busy Wednesday, but then Thursday morning is pretty open, so I have my chance to get stuff done Thursday morning. Move everything over because I planned poorly. You don't need to be here anymore. There's so many little projects that I need to do, but they all like cost $100, $200, $300, but it's not a lot. But I'm trying to preserve cash for other projects. You know, I've got other things that need to get done that are a little bit more important than the little bitty ticky-tacky projects that I have to do. Push it over just a little bit further. Push it over. Speaking of push it, y'all know that Salt and Pepper song, Push It, is about sex? We used to skate to that when I was in middle school. Yeah, they turn it on the skating rink, and you'd go and hanging in Nashville, partying. I am still working. Well, I mean, I'm working off and on. Like I have put in today probably. Let's see here. It's 3 hours at the tasting, 3 hours here, another 3 hours. I'll put in 9 hours today. Eh. But that's also not counting all the other work that I do that I don't like count as work. You know, because I'm like sitting with my notebook and thinking of things that need to get done and working on logistics and planning and all the other shit. But I mean, I left and I went home and I had dinner. And I went to the post office to deliver. I had to file I couldn't e-file my friend's taxes. So when you have a final tax return, somebody else has to prepare your return for you. Usually the person handling your estate. And if you don't have anything, then you don't really have much of an estate, right? So Anita's final return is basically her estate. She has a little bit of life insurance squirreled away somewhere. She's got some benefits that will come to her. I need to file the paperwork to get that for her kid, stuff like that. She's got a few things coming to her, but it's like stuff that's not going to come until like after August or whatever. So it's not really been high on my list of things to do because I've had other stuff that I've had to worry about. But anyway, when you die, somebody has to turn in your final tax return. Especially if you have a refund coming. Like you can't do it, but somebody is due that refund. Usually your beneficiary, your next of kin. And if that person does not have access to your previous tax records, they can't e-file on your behalf. So for God's sakes, people, print out your fucking tax returns, put them in a filing cabinet or accordion folder somewhere. Don't just have them on your computer as a digital copy, because somebody might need your damn tax returns if you get hit by a bus or cancer. Like, don't just take that shit for granted. Make our lives a little bit easier. I mean, if you're going to be inconsiderate and die on us anyway, At least be considerate enough to print out your damn files. I appreciate it. Sincerely, everybody. So anyway, I had to drive to the fucking post office like some kind of fucking Neanderthal. Like they did in the 19th and 20th centuries. Go up there in the wagon into town. Then I have to explain to these people, there's workers standing outside of it. And what I'm like, nope, last pickup was at 6. I'm like, how the fuck do you have the final pickup at 6 o'clock on tax day? Are y'all stupid? And Jesus Christ, when I was a kid, they had workers lined up down the street, down Main Street, heading into downtown Houston. Because the post office was in downtown Houston, obviously, the big post office. The main sorting facility, as they called it. And they'd have workers lined up and down Main Street, taking your taxes on that day and that day alone. Not every other day, just that day. But if you wanted to go all the way up to the post office and drop it off, you could. You could sit in line and do it. But they assured you if they had it in their hand, it would be postmarked tonight. I never really trusted them. Until I was older. And then I was like, fine, take it, whatever, I don't care. Anyway. No, they don't do that anymore. Of course, the sorting facility, the primary sorting facility in the Houston area, is up here on the north side of town. It's not in downtown anymore. It's on a major road that's a transit feeder road. Not a feeder road to the freeway or anything like that, just a major cross-town transit road. But yeah, no, they didn't have any employees out. They just had a few employees milling around outside. That I was able to chat with, and it was fine. It was okay. They do good work at the post office. Amazing work at the post office. They really do. Who do we have here? Top shelves here. Hey, what's up? Yeah, print. Uh, I am a parody of an old man. That is 100% true. I am a full-on old man Gen Xer. From the younger side of the generation, no question about that, but I am a full-on Gen Xer. Got a lively conversation with a kid who's about the age of my younger brother who was bitching and moaning about how Gen X checked out in the 1990s, and that's why we have all the ills we have today, and blah, 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 blah. I'm like, look, kid, we checked out in the 90s because of how shit was organized to encourage us to check out. We weren't, there wasn't enough of us to be able to do anything about what was going on. They salted the earth, so we did not farm it. That's how it was. We're like, we'll wait until we have people on our side. Some of us assimilated because, you either play the game or you get off the field. That's kind of how it goes. Some of us assimilated. Some of us bided our time. But, when you get, I mean, the political environment of all of the 80s and early 90s was not conducive. And even liberals were conservative in the 90s. And Jesus Christ, bleeding heart liberal like Bill Clinton, the tough on crime president, that guy? Yeah, no. Liberalism died. It was full on dead, and we didn't kill it. We didn't start the fire, as the song says. But I mean, it was a full-on lively conversation. I'm like, you're not old enough to remember this shit, but liberalism didn't die because there wasn't enough Gen Xers to support it. Liberalism died because the boomers betrayed it. Texas is a red state because the fucking Democratic Party abandoned it in the 1990s. Abandoned the state. Like, why aren't there more Gen Xers being active in Texas? Because the fucking one party abandoned the whole state. The whole goddamn state for a decade. It's going to be at least another 10 years before we have a statewide Democratic candidate be elected in this state. At least another 10 years. I would be stunned if it happened sooner. I mean, we'll make inroads. We'll make inroads in making it a more democratic, Gen X never checked in. Yeah, we had no place to check in. There was no, there was no check-in booth for us. Every opportunity we had got crushed. Every opportunity for us to check in got crushed on a state, here in Texas at least, on a state and national scale. We were apathetic because what are we going to do? What you going to do? We're a third of the size of the next largest cohort. There was nothing we were going to be able to do. The fucking boomers hung around. They wouldn't retire. We couldn't get jobs because they wouldn't quit. And we were told that to follow the rules because the economy is set up to just become wealthy. You buy a house, you get a job, buy a house, get married. Not necessarily in that order, but those are the vehicles to wealth. And then we did. We went to college, we got a job, we got married, we bought a house. And turns out those were the vehicles to get wealthy in the 70s when those rules were set up. But in the 80s, as interest rates were falling and house prices were flatlining, all of a sudden our houses weren't getting as valuable as the boomers' houses were 30 years earlier. We weren't getting raises the way boomers were 30 years earlier because interest rates were flat and cost of living was flat. Profits were going up, but we weren't getting the raises. Pensions were going away, so there wasn't like permanent income till you die. Like all the rules were changing as we were coming of age, and we were just like, what are we going to do to fix this? Well, you can't fix it. Why not? Because there's not enough of you. Oh, okay. Well, we'll just chill then. How long for the next generation? Oh, you got to start having them. Ah, fuck. Oh, we'll see. Okay, 15 years from now, 20 years from now, we'll see what happens. That's kind of what happened. And only now, finally, the fucking young kids are beginning to show up. Yeah, I know. The slacker generation is looking at the next two generations saying, about goddamn time y'all showed up. Y'all ready? Like, we've been waiting all this time. We hadn't really been waiting all this time. We just didn't think it would get that bad. But for real, in the 1990s, it absolutely was one party, two names. The moderates were conservative. The conservatives were conservative. Even the hard right-wingers, they would never get near power. So the Republicans were okay with saying stupid shit like ban abortion, knowing good and full well that they weren't going to ban abortion. And you'd be okay with electing Republicans who would say that shit because you knew good and damn well they wouldn't do it because they weren't crazy. Fast forward a few years, and now they're fucking crazy. And they'll actually do the shit. Yeah, we all know it's a bad policy. We all know it's a bad plan. We all know it's bad for society and bad for women and bad for the economy and bad for everybody. But they're all like, nope, principles, ban it. Ah. And we're like, what the fuck happened to the gentleman's agreement that we had for 30 years that y'all would say crazy shit but not do crazy shit? And the Democrats, too, they would say crazy shit but not do crazy shit. And we were all comfortable with that. Do your crazy shit, like say your crazy shit, but don't do your crazy shit. We know you're not gonna fucking defund public schools and make it all private charter schools until they actually fucking did it in Louisiana. And we were like, oh shit, they're like real crazy now. Like y'all, we would say things like, end the ban on semi-automatic assault rifles that we had in the 90s. They'd say they would end it, but they wouldn't actually do it. They'd say that crazy shit. And then they did it. And we're like, wait a minute. We had this understanding. You say crazy shit, but not do crazy shit. And now you're doing crazy shit after you said the crazy shit that you would do. This isn't the agreement. Well, now we have to get out of our apathy. We have to start getting up and showing up. And then you have Gen Xers out there saying shit like, this is the first election I've ever voted in. Like, motherfucker, you're 48 years old and this is the first election you're voting in? Where the hell have you been? Well, it's never really mattered before. All the parties are the same. Yeah, okay. All right. All the parties were the same in 1993. And you have two candidates standing on the stage. One of them goes, I believe we should have prisons, more prisons, so that we could put criminals in them and lock them up. Because if a criminal's in prison, the criminal cannot commit crimes on the streets. And then the other candidate would say, I disagree. I think we should have more prisons because more prisons allows you to lock up criminals. And if you lock up the criminals, then they can't commit crimes on the streets. And the moderator would say, that is a very distinct position separating you from your opponent. Would you like to expound? Would you like to rebut him, opponent? And the opponent would say, see, that's how my opponent loses again and again. He just doesn't understand. What you need is more prisons so that you can lock away more criminals, because when criminals are locked away, they cannot commit crimes on the street. And everybody would clap, and the moderator would nod thoughtfully and then say, okay, he mentioned you directly. Would you like to redirect one more time? And then the other candidate would say, yes, I would. Thank you for this chance. You see, my opponent here, what he doesn't seem to understand is he keeps twisting my words, and I didn't say what he said. He said, I want more prisons so you can lock up criminals and keep them off the street. But what I really want is more prisons so you can lock up the criminals and keep them off the street, because criminals on the street commit crimes, but criminals in prison do not. And then everybody would cheer. And you're like, look, watching going, these people are literally saying the same fucking thing. And then, the radio guys would be all like, he's a communist, he's a socialist, he wants to have prisoners building in streets and blah, blah, blah. And everybody would be like, oh, yeah, that guy's a fucking crazy socialist. And then, 45% of the people would vote for one of them, 45% of the people would vote for the other one, and then it wouldn't make any fucking difference. But then everything went fucking crazy. Because then in, 2008, 2009, 2010, let's go 2010, the election of 2010, when the Republicans just got eviscerated. They got demolished. 60%, 2008, 60% supermajorities for the Democrats, right? And then everybody was like, holy shit, they have the numbers to actually do what they say they were going to do. They could just say, fuck it, we're going to do it. Did they? Nope. They had a super fucking majority. Did they do what they said they were going to do? No. No. They played with their own ball sacks for 2 years. And instead of just saying, you know what? fuck it, we're going to pass health care. They said, well, we want to have some Republican, we want it to be bipartisan. You don't need it to be bipartisan. You got 65 goddamn senators. What you do when you have 65 senators is you walk around the Senate chamber and you put dildos on everyone's chair of the opposing party so they can just fuck themselves every time they come into the chamber. You don't need them. Did they? Nope. They did not. They decided to argue among themselves and snatch defeat from the jaws of victory. And it was just enough navel gazing to bring in to give the Republicans a chance to talk amongst themselves and say, the problem is all these years we've said we were going to do something and we never did it. We said we were going to repeal Roe v. Wade, but we never did. We said we were going to ensure guns for everybody, but we never did. We said we were going to lower taxes and starve the beast and abolish the federal government or whatever other nonsensical shit the libertarian wing of the Republican Party said they do what they do. Get rid of 3 cabinet positions. And then Ron Paul goes, no, actually it should be 5. And then another one says, no, let's make it 7. And another one says, let's make it 12. Like, we don't know what all the cabinet positions are. There's like 30. We don't know. And then they said, what if we actually did the things we said we'd do? What if we, when we get a majority, what if we just walked around the chamber and put dildos in the chairs and told everybody they could just fuck themselves? And we'll just do whatever we want. And then they started electing crazy people who would actually do the things they said they would do. If you elect me, I'll do a speech in the well of the Senate, and I'll say poo-poo doo-doo pants 3 times, and you'll know that I'm telling you the truth when I come out here and tell you that I'm trying to work for you because I told you I would go to the well of the Senate and say poo-poo doo-doo, and you can see it on C-SPAN. I'll go to that Senate floor and I'll say poo-poo doo-doo. And if you elect me, you'll know that I am an honest man because I said I'd do a thing and I'd do a thing. And they did. He said he'd do a thing, and he'd go to the well, and he'd say, poo-poo-doo-doo. And that is my speech. Fuck all y'all, I'm out of here. And that's what they did. And people were like, wow, we can get people that'll do what they say they're going to do. The problem is, they were saying they would do crazy shit, like get rid of the Fed, or pull us out of NATO, or in the United Nations, or, end regulation and put companies in control of the regulatory bodies that regulate those companies. Said they would do it, and they said they would do it out loud, and people elected them, and then they did the things, and then everybody's like, holy shit, they're actually doing the things they said they would do. Fuck that. We need to stop that. But it was too little too late, because in 2016 they elected a guy who said he would do a lot of dumb shit, and everybody's like, he can't do that. He can't possibly do that. He's just one guy. What's he gonna do? He did it. He absolutely fucking did. And he tried to do a whole lot more, like pull us out of NATO and end international relationships and upend all kinds of other shit. He tried his fucking hardest. Climate change, that's for bitches and cucks. We don't do climate change. We're out. Oy. But then, we're just given the opportunity, 51 votes. We go and elect the other party, and we'd look at them and we go, guys, just do what you said you would do. Put dildos in the chairs, tell them to fuck themselves, and just do what you said you would do. They did, to an extent, do what they said they would do. But then a couple of those senators grabbed a couple of dildos and started putting them in all the other chairs too. And they were like, you know what? Y'all could all go fuck yourselves. We're just going to do whatever we want to do. And you're like, no, we put you on this team. What are you doing? Quit throwing to the wrong team. Matt Schaub. Matt Schaub was a quarterback for the Texans who had a notoriously bad habit of throwing to the other team. One game, he had 6 interceptions. 3 of them were pick sixes, which means he had a higher completion rate to the other team than he did to the Texans. And he threw more touchdowns for the other team than he did for his own team that week. Matt Schaub. And that son of a bitch has a Super Bowl ring. Matt Schaub has a Super Bowl ring. J.J. Watt does not. How fucked up is that? J.J. Watt has more athletic ability, more football skill, more knowledge of the game in his left testicle than Matt fucking Schaub. And Matt fucking Schaub, a mediocre quarterback at best. J.J. Watt is a fucking Hall of Fame defensive end. He is a god among men on the gridiron. And Matt Schaub, David Carr is more familiar with the constellations above the state of Texas than anybody else because he spent so much time on his back during a football game. That guy got sacked so much. He was in the grass so much. OrthoCare gave him a goddamn sponsorship. The ChemLawn people. True Green Lawns. They're like, David, you're always down there. Let's get you a sponsorship. Scott's Turf Builder. Anyway, what was I talking about? Oh, yeah. Fucking Mansion and Cinema start batting both ways. And we all know what the issue is. We all know it's because they're fucking paid off. They're all paid off. They don't work for their voters. They work for their employers. Their employers are the moneyed interests that keep them elected and take care of their re-election bids. They don't give a shit about us. 70% of us could want something done. They ain't gonna get shit done. But if 50% of the top 10% of income earners in the United States, if they want something done, all they got to do is pick up the fucking phone. We know the game. We know how it works. The challenge is going to be over the next 10 years of changing how that game works. But we can't change how that game works unless we get some new people involved in the game. We got to get some new people involved in the game. Because I mean, honest to God, it doesn't matter what part of the political spectrum you fall on. The government is not working for us. Whether you're conservative or liberal, the government's not fucking working for you. And there's only 2 people who've articulated, 2 politicians, I'll say, who've articulated that frustration. Bernie Sanders and Donald Trump. And Bernie Sanders says, look, the government's not working for us. That's a problem. We need to do something about it. We need to attack the problem. The problem is the corporations are fucking us constantly. And he gets branded as a socialist, possibly a communist, blah, 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 blah. Meanwhile, the other guy says, look, shit's not working for us. This is bad. The common man is getting left behind. We can't let that happen. We need to fight for our economy. We need to fight for our people. We need to fight for America. We need to fight for our values. And it's the fucking foreigners. It's the brown people and the minorities and the transgenders and the other people. It's the ones that don't look like you and me. America. And everybody's like, you know what? It's probably the foreigners. And Bernie Sanders is like, no, it's the goddamn court. Wait, where are y'all going? Why do you have tiki torches? And why are you wearing, oh my God, put that, can't have socialism. Socialism's bad. I'm just full on fucking ranting tonight. Sorry, let me look at chat. See how far off the rails I've gone. Is Jason Coates there? Hey, Jason, what's up, my man? I'm gonna have a drink. I'm gonna have a fucking drink. You know why? Because that's why. I'm coming over to the bar, pour myself a drink from the bar. Glug, 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 glug. All right. Time to peruse chat. I got about 3 more cases, 4 more cases to do. Then I'm gonna build the boxes. Then the only thing I'll have left to do at that point is to oh no, Dustin, what I meant was all the parties were the same in the 1990s. The parties were the same. And by parties, I mean the real parties. I'm not talking about the Greens or the Libertarians. I'm talking about real parties, not bullshit, made up, nonsensical crap of joke parties that have no business being involved in government. The Greens and Libertarians aren't a real party. They're not serious. They're not serious about governing. They're not real parties. Don't even worry about that. But yeah, in the 1990s, both parties were absolutely the same. They absolutely were the exact same fucking party. Until about 2008, when one party said, oh my God, that's what happened. It was 2008 when one party was saying, you know, there's nothing wrong with electing a woman. There's nothing even wrong with electing a black guy. And most of the country was like, they're not really going to do that, are they? And then what the fuck happened? They had a woman and a black guy as their last 2 candidates. And everyone's saying, we could elect a black guy. We could do it. We could actually do that thing. And most of the country is like, nah, they're not really going to follow through with that. That'd be like the Republicans, I don't know, repealing abortion. They're not really going to do that because abortion it's not popular, but I mean, it's popular, but it's not like, we don't want it to be legal, but we don't want it to be illegal. We don't want people to have them, but we don't want it to be illegal. But we're not going to repeal it. We're just going to say we're going to repeal it, but we're never going to really do it. But like that's what they're doing with the black guy thing, right? They say they're talking about it, but they're not really going to do it, are they? And what did they do? They went and fucking did it. And then the other party was like, well, what if we just did what we said we would do? They did what they said they would do. Why don't we do it too? And then all the crazy shit came out of the bag. And they were like, well, we could fucking do it. We said we would do it. Why not do it? And they eviscerated the voting rights, the Civil Rights Act, the Voting Rights Act. They've rolled back, Jesus Christ, from environmental protection laws, consumer protection laws, financial protection laws, fiscal protection laws, fucking rolled back the laws that protected banks from investing in risky investments after the last banking collapse. And we just had a fucking miniature bank collapse. They did all the things they said they would do, and it all started when the other party said they would do all the things they said they would do. Like maybe we should elect a black guy and get some health insurance reforms and do the stuff. And then they did it. Crazy. Yes, liquor camp, come on down. The presidential dildo. seeing the Mitch's face when he presented the presidential dildo. That's funny as hell. Let's be real. This is and I've got more. I've got more back here. I've got barrels aging. I've got more barrels coming, and I've got stuff in storage waiting to go into barrels, waiting to come out of barrels. I got a bunch. I got a bunch more, and I'm even working on a plan for some vodka and some gin and some other. I've got inventory. We're working our way through it. We're working our way through. Um, he tried his hardest after his presidential time and showed up at the White House at noon. um, well, that's one thing Republican. Yeah, they they own up to their word. The problem is their word is fucking horrific. Right now, at least, they're like, yeah, we'll put judges in that'll repeal your rights. They're like, no, what do they? No, they wouldn't do that. And then they do it. Um, Jesus Christ. That's Democrats and Republicans are the only real parties. I mean, well, one of them's a real party. One of them has an intent to govern. The other one has all of the intent to fucking starve the beast and is threatening to literally throw our country into a fiscal disaster by holding the by defaulting on our debts and not paying our bills. Only one party right now has any interest or ability to govern. The other party is the Republican Party. Yeah. They have no interest in governing, no interest in legislation, no interest in passing laws, no interest in doing anything except culture war nonsense. That's it. That's one one party wants to make sure you've got health care, welfare, education, and funding for entitlements, Social Security, and other things, and the other party wants to protect you from imaginary sexual predators in bathrooms that they don't belong in. That's the difference between the two. One party wants you to pay $35 for insulin. The other party wants you to fuck off and not ask any questions about it. I mean, one party is interested in governing. The other party has people in there who literally advance policies and cheer on policies that cause people to have to choose between medication and rent and ultimately die because they chose to live their life instead of spend all their money on medication and then die. True story. That happened in real life. I have her son living at my house. One party has people who say, God told me to run for president. I spent an hour on my knees in the Baptist church, and God told me to run for president. And then he drops out like 3 months later because God didn't tell anybody to vote for him, just told him to run for president. But then when he drops out, he at least has the integrity to tell people to vote their conscience, and then immediately turns around and starts fundraising for the guy who he would not endorse. Deep integrity there. Deep integrity. Um, oh no, yeah, don't get me wrong. They're all complete trash. Both parties are 100% owned by their fucking corporate interest. Neither party is working on our behalf. But one party will at least try and find solutions to our problems that also benefit their corporate masters. Which is why we get the ACA, which is basically a requirement that you buy insurance. A big fat fucking gift to the insurance companies. Everybody in America has to buy insurance. Everybody? Everybody. They have to buy it? They have to pay for it out of their own pocket? Everybody. Are there any plans that are only like $10 a month for people who like don't ever go to the doctor? Nope. So you're telling me every man, woman, and child over 26 has to spend $400 a month on health insurance, or they'll be fined $5,000. Yep. Even if they don't go to the doctor? Even if they don't go to the doctor. That's fucking stupid. Yep. But that's what we're going to do. Well, what if we just put everybody on Medicare, and then, if they want to get private insurance that's above and beyond Medicare, they could do that. Oh no. Oh no, that's socialism. So socialism's okay for old people, but not for young people? Yep. Why does that make sense? Help me understand that. Oh, well, you see, these people paid us a lot of fucking money to make sure that they don't go away. And if you do a public option, then they cease to exist because their product sucks so much they can't even compete with the government. Oh, right, that makes sense. And that's how healthcare, the American Affordable Care Act, rather, that's how the Affordable Care Act became a thing. Pharmaceutical companies and insurance companies paid a shit ton of money to make sure that the federal government didn't offer basically the same insurance that they offer everybody else, the poors and the olds, to everybody. Because if the federal government offered insurance to everybody, well, these multi-million-dollar corporations, whose primary role in business is to make money and not provide insurance, would have been fucked and ceased to exist. But God forbid Cigna Health Insurance ceases to exist. God forbid that should happen, because then they wouldn't be able to deny health insurance coverage to people who fucking need hernia surgery. They wouldn't be able to deny payments to people who are getting knee replacements. They wouldn't be able to tell people who need knee replacements that they should wait until it becomes unbearably painful before they get their knee replacement, because they're not going to pay for a knee replacement when they're 55. They'll only pay for a knee replacement when they're 65. So they have to walk around with a fucking limp for 10 goddamn years in excruciating agony because fuck them. But yeah, both parties are trash. Both parties are absolute trash. Because we wouldn't have that system if we had a real fucking governance and a real fucking governing body. But thanks to 40 years of low tax, low regulation, low involvement ideology and theology, government theology, we have crumbling infrastructure, bad governance, bad oversight, and a government that is too small and too undermanned to be able to do anything about corporations that are, quite frankly, larger and more powerful than our own government. They can do whatever they want. For the most part. Not entirely. I mean, there's even some egregious actions that, you know, transportation companies can't entirely get away with. But man, you gotta do some shit before they come down on you. You gotta do some shit before they come down on you. And there's an oil and gas company, a fertilizer company, that blew up an entire town of West Texas. The town of West Texas, not the town in West Texas. Fertilizer company blew up an entire fucking town. Huge goddamn explosion. I guess it was on the edge. Oh, it was on the side of town, but it destroyed like half the town. It took out, I think, an old folks' home. You know what happened to them? Paid a fine. Something like a $2 million fine. A $2 million fine for a multi-billion corporation. That's like you having a parking ticket. See, I'm letting my Gen X flag fly today. I'm letting it fly. All the pent-up rage and frustration of 30 years of disaffected youth. 30 years of working within a fucking system and then having the system yanked out from under my fucking feet. 30 years of being sold a bill of goods. It was a pure fabricated lie. 30 years of being told if you play the game, if you follow the rules, if you do what needs to be done to get by, you'll succeed. Because the system rewards the people who work within the system. And then seeing those people who tell you that change the fucking system in real time as you're working in it. We had record profits this quarter. Record profits this quarter. Record profits this quarter. Record profits this quarter. Oh, things are tough, man. Things are tough. You're just going to have to figure out a way to do more with less. Why the fuck we got to do more with less? You had record profits 4 quarters in a row. The hell is wrong with you people? We can count. Oh, interest rates are low. We can't raise cost of living. Everybody's getting cost of living raises. We can't raise prices on our goods, so we can't raise prices. We can't raise prices for our employees. We can't raise wages because we can't raise prices because interest rates and inflation are low. So you're just going to have to work within the system. We're going to give you a promotion, but not a raise. How's that? Like, bitch, I can't go on vacation with a promotion. Can't take a promotion to the Hilton and get a reservation for a room for a week in fucking New Orleans. Can't go to a Broadway show and pay for it with a promotion. Oh, well, we can't raise our prices. Well, motherfucker, we made twice as many fucking things last year as we did this year. We got more productive, so pay us more, motherfuckers. No, we can't do that. Why not? Because it's not you doing the work, it's the machines. Oh, that's how it was. I guess it was the machines that went out and got the fucking clients. I guess we're just here making sure that the machines work. And that dog's there to make sure I don't touch the machine. And I'm here to feed the dog. That's a joke about the old textile industry in North Carolina. As the automation was sweeping through the textile industry in the Carolinas, people were being laid off, and it was harder and harder and harder to find a job. And an efficiency consultant was coming through and looking at the operations, and there was one factory that had an old man and a dog working in the factory. They said, "How much you pay that dog?" They said, "We don't pay the dog any money. We pay that dog in food." They said, "How much you pay that old man?" I said, "That old man is an executive, a vice president. He's an executive. He gets paid the average of all the C-suite guys. He gets paid like $150,000, something like that." Like, all right, well, what's he do? Well, he feeds the dog. He's like, all right. Well, what's the dog do? Well, the dog's there to make sure that that guy doesn't touch any of the machines. Ha 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 ha. Consulting humor. Got another funny consultant joke. Consultant comes up to a guy on a farm. Says, hey, mister. Calls him from the gate. Mister, I'm a consultant, freshly minted. I come from Harvard. Here's my credentials. I got an MBA and da 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 da. I can help you improve efficiency on your farm. And I'll bet you that horse there that I can help you and double your profits in just a year. I'll show you how to do it. The farmer looks at the kid and he goes, all right, fire away. Pulls out his spreadsheets and pulls out his maps. And he says, these satellite maps tell us what fields you have that are prime for planting. And if you plant this field, this field, this field, and this field, you'll be able to double your output. And if you let this field, this field, this field, this field go fallow, well, they will become more productive in the next couple of years. But in the meantime, you can use them to pasture land to help feed your horses. And then your herd of horses can grow, and your herd of horses grow, and you'll further increase your profits. So you not only increase your profits from the crops that you plant, but you also be able to increase your profits from the expansion of your herd. The farmer nods his head and he goes, all right. Well, son, I knew from the moment I laid eyes on you that you were full of shit and you were going to cause me trouble. The kid says, what are you talking about? He says, well, first off, you're in some fancy little car, not a truck. You're driving around here in Central Texas in some fancy little car, and you're going to get that little car stuck because you're not in a truck. And these roads get bogged down when it rains, and it's going to rain. You can tell by the clouds over there on the horizon that it's going to rain. Furthermore, these fields that you say are extra fertile and ready to plant, I know that. I've already started planting these fields. You're telling me things that I already know. You're not being very helpful at all. And finally, I know you're full of shit and you're going to cause me trouble because this is a dog and not a horse. Get off my property. That's the punchline. This is a dog because he said, I'll bet you that horse, and it was a dog. See, that's the punchline. That's why it's funny. Y'all need to catch up. Y'all really do. Y'all need to get, it's no fun when I have to explain my jokes. I know. It's like 1 a.m, but that's a funny joke. Y'all don't know humor. Shut up. Shut up. That's just how it is. I need to find some boxes. Hang on a second. Hold tight. Hold up. Where are my boxes at? Where are my bitches at? Boxes. All right, those are dividers. Boxes. I need 10 boxes. Where are my boxes? Let me peruse chat while I'm walking around. Sales guys get paid. Today on Raging Upper Middle Class Man Who Started His Own Company is excelling in American. uh, uh, I'm fighting my fight. I'm not. I mean, this isn't an easy road by any stretch of the imagination. I chose this road. Don't get me wrong. I chose the life I'm living. This wasn't thrust on me by any stretch of the imagination. But it's not easy. It is not. I don't know why anybody would choose this fucking life, this fucking lifestyle. This is hard. I mean, like legit. You know, there's the glamour and wow factor and all the shit of being a. Oh, what's this? Humble Independent School. I just found a pen. I got a new pen. Yay! There's the perceived glamour of owning your own business. Being your own rock star, controlling your own destiny, having your own you know, setting your own hours, having your own schedule, being able to go see your kids and all that. But there's also the existential terror of having to make rent every month. There's the existential terror of knowing that there's nobody there to catch you. You know, I mean, you have your family, you have your safety net, but the safety net is like the safety net isn't always, you know, for normal people. Like the safety net isn't unlimited funds forever. The safety net is for normal people. Yeah, you can come back and live here when you fail and you get your shit back under control. And then you need to leave and go back out and do what you're going to do. But you can't live here forever. Like, you got to get your shit back under control. That's how long you can stay. And that's for normal people. You know, there's the trust fund babies who have virtually unlimited monies. I'm not one of those. Be nice. Oh, man, it would be nice. Where's my tape? He said out loud, as if the people on the internet could tell him where his fucking tape was. Tape gun. Tape gun. Tape gun. It's over here on the table. But, you know, I mean, don't cry for me, Argentina. I chose this fucking life. This is what I want to be when I grow up. And, you know, the payoff, I mean, I'm not going to lie. The payoff is potentially tremendous. You know, start building this thing up to the point where we've got regular sales, we have a following, we have a market, we have people taking, doing the stuff that the people do. A vibrant and excited and engaged community of people who love the brand and want more of the brand and can't get enough of the brand and brand. I mean, the potential payoff is huge. Of course, that payoff may be for my grandkids, may not be for me. You know, blessed is the man who plants seeds that grow into trees under which the shade he will never rest. Right? You will come into this land as aliens. You will find fields that you did not plow and wheat that you did not sow, and it will be a blessing unto you, for others have come before you to pave your way. Right? I mean, you do this thing because you want to succeed. I mean, obviously, nobody starts a business to fail. Nobody starts a business to be unsuccessful. Nobody says, I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to buy Mary Kay products so that I could lose $400 and then use the most expensive makeup I've ever used in my life for the next 3.5 years until I run out of this shit or sell it in a garage sale. That's never the plan when they start Mary Kay. When they start Mary Kay, they think, yeah, I'd like to have one of those pink Cadillac fucking cars, a pink PT Cruiser, whatever it is that they get. I don't know. I know it's pink. No one ever starts a business and says, you know what I think I'll do? I think I'll try this thing for 5 or 10 years. Try it for 5 years. And then when I'm done, I'll lose my house. That sounds like fun. Nah, that's never the plan going in. The plan going in is start a business, get phenomenally rich, talk your wife into getting plastic surgery or agreeing to a mistress or two. And if she doesn't agree to it, do it behind her back. And if she gets mad, dump her ass and get a new one. It's going to cost you half your shit, but that's okay, because you've got more shit than you've ever had in your life. And then sign prenups until you die. Because from that point forward, every single wife and or girlfriend you have will be 23 years old. You keep getting older, but they stay the same age. 2, 3, 4, 2 more. 3 more, sorry. I mean, that's the plan when you start a business. Never the whole lose the house thing. That's never part of the plan. Now, there's a whole lot of people for whom that ends up being the reality. Start a business, lose all their shit. End up being in debt for a good chunk of the rest of their life. It takes them, they run the business for 5 years. It takes them 5 years to clean up the mess that they created with the business. Because they didn't really know what they were doing to start with. And if they're lucky, they avoid a big fat tax bill that puts them out of business at the end of the day. And for some folks, they break even. They run their thing for a few years and they're like, yeah, it's not working, I quit. And they, it doesn't cost them anything to shut the business down, so they're good. They're fine. I'm hoping to be that first group still, where you get all the shit and then hand it down to your grandchildren and the great-grandchildren. That's still my plan. Grandchildren, great-grandchildren, that's the plan. The whole planting trees under which the shade I will never rest and be a blessing unto others. Because this is a slow burn, and it takes. The reality is that it could take years for this thing to really take root. I could have a moderately profitable business that pays me a living wage and da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. I could do that. But a moderately profitable business that pays me a living wage could be worth millions to my kids. Even if it's only worth thousands to me, it could be worth millions to my kids. That's pretty cool. I'm okay with that. When they say in hushed tones of how Grandpap would work till 2 o'clock on YouTube and there's still videos in the archives. If Google's still around in 25 years. We haven't gone to some other platform that just beams directly into your head. Where are we at? Plan, steel underpants. Hey, David Bays, welcome to the party. Cheers to you, my friend. And by the way, if y'all haven't subscribed, don't forget to subscribe. We are on the march to 2,000 subscribers. We're getting there. We're not there yet. 1994, I think, is what I saw earlier today, which is a good number. It was a good number. 1994 was a good year. Freshman year in college. Beginning of my sophomore year, that was when I moved on campus, I think. No, I moved on campus in 95. That's when I met my beautiful wife. 94 was the reason I moved on campus. That that was the year that I got notified by the city of Houston and the state of Texas that they wanted to take my license away because I couldn't control my speed and I couldn't drive like a proper citizen. And they're like, you are a danger to yourself and others. If you don't get your shit together, we're going to take your license. And I was put on probation for a 12-month period. And if I got another speeding ticket for a 12-month period, because I had gotten, I think, I'd gotten 4 in a year, and they told me if I kept it up, they'd take my license. It might have been 6 in a 12-month period. But anyway, that's why I moved on campus. I moved on campus because I was like, I'm driving 60 miles a day. If I drove less, there would be less of a chance of me getting a ticket. Hey, Dad, hear me out. He's like, yeah, I'm down with that. So we worked out a plan to make it so that I could afford to live on campus. And I moved on campus. And that was January of 1995. And in February of 1995, I met my future bride. And boy, I'll tell you what, it was Oscar. It was the Oscar, one of those fucking award shows. I don't know which one it was. I think it was the Oscars. She was supposed to watch the Oscars with a mutual friend of ours. I'm going to say it was the Oscars. I don't know for sure. With a mutual friend of ours. But he decided he was going to watch Melrose Place or 90210 or one of those stupid fucking shows. And I thought it was completely stupid that he was watching that show. And I'm talking to the dude downstairs at the front desk. And this chick comes in and she's like, do you know where? I'm like, and I don't remember my buddy's name. Let's call him Anthony for the story purposes. I don't know if that's his name, though. He's like, I don't know where he's at. I've been down here this whole time. And I'm like, funny you should mention that. I know exactly where Scott is. Who are you? And she goes, I'm Melissa, and I'm pissed off at him. And she was so fucking gorgeous. She was mad as hell. And the color was in her cheeks because she was mad as hell. And she was wearing this tight little shirt, these tight little pants. And goddamn, she was fine. Oh my gosh, she was hot. Oh, she was just pissed off. And I'm like, I'm going to marry that woman. She's mine. Dibs. So I called dibs. Got a little bit more information about who she was and what, the way people used to do before Tinder. I'm like, I think I want to get to know her a little bit better. And Scott was like, dude, you don't want to get to know her a little bit better. She is a good person. She is a good person. She's not going to put up with you or your shit. I'm like, hang on, man. I can be a good person. He's like, can you be a good person all the time? I'm like, I can be a good person long enough to marry her. Yeah, so 1994 was a good year. What was I talking about 94 for? 94. 94. I'm sure there was something that cued me into 1990. Oh, 1994. That's how many subscribers we have. Anyway. So yeah, that was a good year. My wife, goddamn, she's still a smoke show. I don't give a shit what anybody says. Women age well. I've gotten a tremendous amount of joy out of growing old with my lovely wife. I've gotten older. She's gotten older. It has been a tremendous amount of joy. Every gray hair that pops up, she doesn't know I see them, but I see them, and it puts a smile on my face. Because, with every gray hair that she gets, I know that it's going to be harder for her to replace me. No, I'm kidding. Every gray hair, every wrinkle that we share, it's an experience that we've had together. It's miles that we've traveled. It's years that we've lived together. It's stories and memories and just time that I absolutely cherish with that woman. I mean, when the company like takes off and I get my 23-year-old hot girlfriend, I'll probably still keep her around. You know, I mean, I may not marry the 23-year-old. I mean, what are we going to talk about, really? I mean, I'll probably keep my wife. You know. I kid. I wouldn't keep her around. No, I'm kidding. I'd keep her around. I love her. She's a beautiful woman. She's a beautiful soul on the inside and outside. Uh, Not that I've like cut her open to see what's on the inside. That'd be gross. That's weird. Oh, I have a shot of whiskey over here. Why didn't y'all tell me I have a shot of whiskey over here, man? All right, that's 10 cases. How long did that take me? Hour and 15 minutes to seal and seal those up, and that's not bad. That's not bad. No, I mean, you don't drop the wife. You keep her. You keep them around, right? Yeah. You know, I mean, they're mother to your children. You got to keep them around. Mr. Beast will keep YouTube up, even if it does. The Mr. Beast Network. Yeah, didn't he reject an opportunity to like Twitch was going to pay him to switch platforms or something like that? 1,997. I'm at 1997. 1997. Also a good year. The year before I graduated college. The beginning of my senior year, 97. 98 was the year I graduated. Holy shit, I'm 3 away from 2000. I think it's perfectly acceptable to expect your wife to accept a 23-year-old, add to the relationship for every million a year. I think so too. I mean, you know, there's different aspects to relationships. We don't have to, you know, we don't have to expect everyone to do everything. You know, I mean, I don't mow my own lawn. I have people who mow my lawn for me. I have a busy schedule. I can't mow my own lawn all the time. I mean, it would be 3, 4 weeks sometimes before I get around to mowing the lawn. And if it's been 4 weeks, it's going to take me 5 hours to go through the fucking jungle out there. It's perfectly reasonable to have 1 or 2 people come into a relationship that handle specific tasks, right? And you reach a certain age, you don't want to cook anymore. You just have a live-in chef. You know, you don't want to have to look over the kids. The kids are grown anyway, so you know you bring somebody in to handle the liaison with the adult children, like a secretary type. That's perfectly reasonable. Um, you know, someone to uh dust the top of the uh cabinets and someone to dust the bottom of the cabinets down below. You know, a couple of people like that. You know. Maybe some Swedish college students to exchange with American colleges to have a Swedish. They can go to Sweden or something. You know. You know. So, something like that. Something like that. And you know, turnabout would be fair play too. If she wants to hire herself a young man to satisfy the needs that she has, I'm sure she can hire somebody to do the dishes and laundry and things like that she doesn't want to do. Yeah, you know. Yeah, yeah, perfectly reasonable. Perfectly reasonable. Like that wouldn't start a fight at all. Not at all. Um, Jesus Christ, it's 1:21. I'm done with my work. Like literally, the only thing I have to do tomorrow is go to Office Depot, print out some box labels. So I'm gonna bring my box labels home, go to Office Depot, print out the box labels to put onto the boxes. And then I've got a board over there that I need to cut up. I don't want to do that tonight. I'm tired. I don't want to use the saw when I'm this tired. I want to get a good night's sleep, come back in here, and then I'll use the saw tomorrow. I mentioned earlier we may have a Miss Old Humble coronation on July 4th. Have a little like 4th of July celebration and a coronation of Miss Old Humble, an all-American gal for an all-American whiskey. Um, Dustin, I thought you said you had a pile of work to do. And you were like, fuck it. I want to listen to this idiot rant about whatever the fuck he's ranting about. I want to hear him rant in Gen X for the next hour. So you just stuck around. uh, I appreciate you sticking with me, my man. I do. I absolutely appreciate it. We're at 1,997 subs. That is insane. That is insane. 1,997. I'm going to be at 2,000 tomorrow. I have a video out there that has just it's getting views, like every time I refresh it, it's getting views. It was at 480 a second ago. It's at 509 right now, and it's only been out for 2 hours. So that's pretty cool. You got a huge spreadsheet. I don't see a huge spreadsheet. And in 2 weeks, at the beginning of May, I'm going to start build out of my bathroom. Start putting in the walls, start framing in the walls for our bathroom. Mark where the plumbing and cabling is going to go, the wires and all the stuff that we need for the shows and the streaming and all the stuff that we need to do. If I move that file to my personal PC. But yeah, in 2 weeks, beginning of May, we start build out right over there of stuff. I've got barrels coming in the mail. They should be here in about 5 days. So I'll have whiskey and barrels in 10 days because I want to cure the barrels for about 5 days. Let me change this screen. We cure the barrels for 5 days. I have 2 barrels that have been curing already for a week, but I'll cure the other 4 barrels that come in for 5 or 6 days, and then we'll add whiskey to those barrels. And those barrels will be ready. Let's see here. If they go in May 1st, it'll be May, June, July, August, September, October. They'll be ready in October, and then I'll try and do another batch of barrels the next month, and for June. So the goal is to have 6 to 10 barrels a month every month, and I should have enough whiskey. The blackout bourbon coming out. This whiskey, I should have enough whiskey. Another batch. I should have enough whiskey for a 4-month supply. That 4-month supply should, we're going to have a little gap. That's okay. I think I can survive that little gap. Just then the next batches start coming out, and the next batches start coming out, so we should be in pretty good shape. But I'm going to need at some point. See, now you get to listen to the internal monologue going on in my head. At some point, I'm going to need to get more bottles. I'm going to need to get more corks. I have plenty of labels, but I'm going to need more bottles and more corks. Yeesh. All right, kids. It's 1:30. I'm going to pack it in. I'm going to pack it in. I'm going to head home, and I'm going to come back out here and hit it again in the morning. I'll probably be out here around 10 o'clock. I may stream. I may not. Definitely going to have the happy hour show tomorrow night. I may be here for the happy hour show. I may be at home for the happy hour show. I haven't decided. And we're going to talk about the whiskey styles, the different whiskey styles: corn whiskey, bourbon, single malt, blended malt, Scotch, single malt Scotch, blended malt Scotch, or blended Scotches, straight whiskey, bottled and bond, cask strength. You know what all these things mean when you read a label of whiskey. What does the label tell you that the whiskey says? straight Kentucky bourbon whiskey. What does that mean? Straight Texas whiskey. What does that mean? Straight Texas bourbon whiskey. What does that mean? Bottled by, handcrafted in, distilled and bottled, distilled and aged, bottled or aged and bottled. What do all these things mean on the labels? We're gonna talk about all that shit tomorrow night. Good old fashioned whiskey 101. Yeah, that'll be tomorrow night. 9 p.m. tomorrow night. I'll have the show queued up. I'll have the show teed up and ready to go. Yeah, so there you go. Ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, children of all ages, I raise my glass to you as a reminder that we are all on the same team. We're all Americans. And impossible is un American. There is no problem we can't tackle together. There is no solution that we can't find together. Because impossible is un American. Cheers. We'll see you tomorrow. Yep. Just dead silence. Like my soul. Dead. Silent. Cold. Anyway. Thanks for watching. We'll see y'all later. In screen, blah, blah, blah. I don't even know if I have an in screen for these things. Fuck it.